to you from me 2,000 years ago. It's Eulalia, and I'm going to do a teach to learn to help me retain information and knowledge that I will translate into my sci-fi novel. And today I want to be doing a teach to learn on the one, the only Dostoevsky. Let's get into it. What makes a man truly free? What drives him to commit the worst of sins? And when faced with suffering, does he surrender or does he transcend? Dostoevsky didn't just write novels. He dragged his readers into the depths of the human psyche, forcing them to confront their own contradictions. His works are filled with criminals, madmen, saints, and philosophers, characters who don't just act, but debate the meaning of life itself. This is the man who wrote Crime and Punishment, Notes from Underground. All of his work seeks to break down the psyche just to build it back up again. But who was Dostoevsky, and why does his work still haunt us today? Dostoevsky's life was no ordinary one. He wasn't some detached intellectual writing from a place of comfort. He lived the suffering he wrote about. He was sentenced to death for participating in a radical intellectual group, only to be pardoned right before. He spent 4 years in a Siberian labor camp surrounded by thieves and murderers where he saw firsthand the battle between morality and depravity. He was a gambling addict, constantly in debt, living in exile, haunted by epilepsy and grief. Yet, as most greats do, despite the suffering, he created some of the greatest literature the world has ever seen, period. Crime and Punishment asks, if there is no God, is everything permitted? Can a man justify a murder if he believes he is superior? In this book, the character, whatever main character, kills believing he's above morality. However, despite that societal standard, the guilt consumes him. The Underground Man, Rebellion Against Rationalism. Notes from Underground is a direct attack on Enlightenment thinking. The Underground Man knows he should want happiness, but instead chooses suffering. He says, man is sometimes extraordinarily, passionately in love with suffering. Okay. And the man will often spit in the face of logic, reminding us that humans don't always work in our best interest. Faith, Doubt, and Grand Inquisitor. In the Brothers Karamazov, the Grand Inquisitor tells Christ, people don't want freedom, they want to be controlled. Dostoevsky wrestled with faith. His characters challenge doubt and sometimes embrace belief. Dostoevsky's work isn't just literature, it's prophecy. He predicted the rise of totalitarianism, claiming that man would give up freedom for comfort. He understood the psychology of the man, lost in endless self-analysis, paralyzed by his own contradictions. His books are both terrifying and liberating because they remind us that even in the darkest depths, redemption is possible. Suffering is the sole origin of consciousness. Now, let's go into some personal thoughts. Okay, so I just started studying Dostoevsky yesterday, really, and started reading him yesterday. I am for some reason on this kick with Gothic artists because I just love history so much. And it's seemingly like these brooding characters who are all so different do have such exceptional displays of works of art. And I want to contribute to either that history, that lineage, and also just drink in whatever knowledge or, breaking down of my psyche that they can offer me. And I had never heard some of these quotes like suffering is the sole origin of consciousness. As you could see, I started nerding out because that's crazy. Man is sometimes extraordinarily passionately in love with suffering. And as misogynistic as that is or sounds, I too find myself looking for ways where suffering, like selective suffering that brings me to being a better person. For example, waking up at 5 a.m., making myself go on that run, making myself do this video to retain information. There's all that bit of uncomfortability that on the other side of it, I always feel so satisfied. So Dostoevsky predicted totalitarianism, understood that modern man's psychology, and that we are constantly stuck in a loop of self-analysis and contradictions while blatantly projecting onto others. That was my last little bit. What else do I know about him? He was born in Russia. Oh, that shit was crazy that he went to the labor camps, that he was sentenced to death. Crazy. Anyway, I look forward to learning more. If you've ever read any Dostoevsky, or if you have any recommendations, now that we're getting to know each other and you're starting to kind of maybe understand where my interests are, I'm hoping to create a community that will teach me things or show me things. So anyway, to you, from me,